Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let me put myself up here without, I'm not using my, sorry, I'm not doing video today, you guys. You can hear me, let me know, okay? Not muted this morning. And stage, okay? And let's see, why am I not on there though? Like at least my little half-face picture. Anyway, let me know if you can hear me. We are going to go ahead and go over the complaint or the civil case of Lindsay. I don't think we have time to do both of them, so we'll do Lindsay's today. Good morning. You can hear me okay? I don't know what's going on with this thing. Like, I always have issues, you guys. I'm telling you. Present. Okay, let's see. I am going to share my screen and we are going. Oh, no, this is the one. All right. Can you see that okay? Let me make it bigger. Let's put myself. Nope. That's what we want to see. How is that? Can you see that okay? And you can hear me okay? I just need to know. Because for some reason, the little square of me isn't even coming up on the stage, which is weird. Usually at least with the camera on or off or whatever. Let me just try something. Let's do. All right. I'm going to just try this real quick. Hold on. Okay. Now you should be able to hear me, correct? And how's that on the bigger screen now? I tried to make it maximized. I don't know if I can, yeah, I can go up and down on it. All right. How's that? All right, everybody. Welcome to Chatting with Kathy. My name is Kathy Brooks. I'm not going to put my face on the screen today because we're going over the document, which is what we want to look at, not me. Okay, perfect. Great. Perfect. Okay, good. So if you're new here, please say hello in the chat. We have been following the Lindsay Clancy case for 3 weeks now. They were going to be going into day 14 next week on Monday. And hopefully we're getting to the end of the prosecutor's case. I've heard rumors that they're ready to rest, but I'm not sure why they didn't rest yet. So let me see who's here. There we got Bella Italian. Good morning. Good morning. Gen X Lady. Good morning. Looking forward to hearing about this. Good morning from Alberta, Canada. Amy, so glad I can finally watch live with you. Yay, except we can't see me, but that's okay. Hello, everybody. Okay. And I think we got it figured out now. So let me get my notes because I got notes and we can go over everything. Okay. So the lawsuit, Lindsay Clancy's first amended complaint. So she's had some amended complaints. Yes, please, thank you. Some amended complaints. Her first amended complaint and jury demand in Norfolk Superior Court. That's what this is, okay? And the defendants in this case are Jennifer Tufts. We saw her on the stand. She is a psychiatrist. Dr. Alaya Goodhart. We saw her on the stand. She was a psychiatrist at McLean Hospital, where Lindsay was inpatient for about 4 to 5 days. Dr. Zobida Diaz. Don't remember her off the top of my head. Does anybody? Nurse practitioner Rebecca Gelada, which we saw her. She's the one with that baby voice and had 4, I think, meetings with Lindsay. Astor Mental Health, which is where Jennifer Tufts works for, and probably some of these other people too. South Shore Health System, which is South Shore Hospital Health System. They also had a perinatal clinic. McLean Hospital, which is the psych hospital, and Women's and Infant Hospital of Rhode Island, which turned her away because she said she was on too many meds. So that was just my guess of why these people are involved. And my coffee, guys, I'm going to have that too while I'm talking to you. And let's see. Just so weird that I can't get my little speechy bubble up there. Add to stage. Hold on. I'm just going to mess with something for a minute. Hold on 1 second, because I'm just going to push all these buttons and see what happens. Okay, that one's there. All right, I got to figure something out, but I'll have to do it later. So that moves around. Okay, so the best case scenario here is that one, right? Okay. So the complaint, hey everyone, Journey, hello. Hi, Ruby. I'm here. I'm just not going on camera today. She really did slip in the cracks. Tire situation is horrific. So the complaint alleges that multiple medical providers failed to properly diagnose, treat, monitor, and coordinate care for Lindsay's severe postpartum psychiatric illness, despite repeated efforts by Lindsay and her family for help. So they tried really hard. I think they tried very, very hard. Harder than most people would try, I believe, in my opinion. So it's important now. We have several of the same providers that have testified. So now we got faces with the names, which I think is good right now in that criminal trial. So it gives us Lindsay's, so we can see Lindsay's civil attorney's reason of what went wrong. Okay. Now I tried to get some bullet points out here. So hold on 1 second. I'm going to put up a different page. I organized this, believe it or not. So the complaint goes back to Lindsay's previous pregnancies. After Dawson's birth, it alleges that Lindsay had a period of increased energy and what Patrick describes as manic behavior. She was obsessively cleaning, decluttering, racing mentally, and constantly felt pressure to be active. The lawsuit claims this prior postpartum episode was a warning sign for possible bipolar spectrum illness that later providers should have explored. So one of the biggest questions for me is, did anybody ever take a truly thorough reproductive psychiatric history? And we've kind of said no, right? A little bit of postpartum depression in her other pregnancies is kind of all I heard around people buzzing about. Not this was an actual complete precursor to what actually happened. So we'll go back over this too. I'm going to hit these highlights though. So paragraph 25 here. I'm trying to see, is that page 9? That should be page 9 on the screen, guys. Good morning, Justine. Hello. So after Callan was born May 26, 2022, the complaint says She was exercising intensely beginning about 1 week postpartum after Callan the baby. She was waking up about 4 a.m. She was running 3 miles. She was spinning. She was doing aerobics. She was running a 5-mile race only 5 weeks postpartum, which I think is wild. Murphy's getting all cleaned up today. These two need to be cleaned up too. I need to give my dogs a bath. Maybe I'll do that this weekend. So she was really going all in right here. Exercising 1 week postpartum, which you're not supposed to do. FYI, you're supposed to wait till 6 weeks. She was waking up at 4 a.m., which I mean, newborn baby, you can kind of say that's probably could be just because you have a newborn baby. Running 3 miles, spinning. So she's doing spin classes. I'm assuming that means aerobics, running a 5-mile race only 5 weeks postpartum, impulsively joining a Beachbody MLM. So she joined that Beachbody MLM, which PLM was talking about, and has all those shakes and stuff with all those ingredients, which PLM said one of the ingredients is shrooms in there. Isn't that wild? Yeah. Hello, Carolina. Hello, hello. Yeah, wild, right? That's a lot for postpartum. So that does show kind of a bipolar, manic, right? Mania. To me, it looks like it. Hypomanic. Okay, the complaint characterizes that these behaviors are hypomanic. Hypomanic. Around 12 weeks postpartum, it says her mood abruptly shifted into severe anxiety, depression, and insomnia. So is she a bipolar that cycles slowly? Some bipolar, from what I understand about bipolar, some people cycle really fast. One day they can be up and down, up and down, up and down. Other people cycle more slow, where it could be like weeks of up and then weeks of down. Okay, so hi, kitty cat. Welcome back to life. This cat hid all day yesterday, all day, all last night. Didn't come out. This morning, I caught him peeking around the corner when we woke up, and I let the dog out of the crate, the new dog. So then yesterday was up on like the highest shelf in a closet here, way up where I could never reach him, on top of a box in that closet. And then this morning, I guess he decided to come out. Now he's sitting on the desk. So I guess he's like, you know what? It's a dog or me. Hi, Kit Kat. Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay. So she was reportedly sleeping only about 3 hours per night and eventually needed her parents to come help with the other children. So I guess this is where the civil complaint says the trajectory really begins right here. It's for baby life. Seriously. My goodness, I was so worried this morning about the cat. I couldn't find him anywhere after he peeked at us and left. And guess where he was? In here watching the birds. Like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be in deep depression and shock and hiding, and here you are. But he's exploring the new dog better now. And I'm trying to put the new dog in the crate so he can come out, Hi, BLM. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. So did I put page 10 up? I hope I have yes, slide 10. Okay. This one, September 12th, Lindsay finds Dr. Jennifer Tufts. Oh, hold on, you guys. My cat is going close to the crate. Interesting. Okay, we're making progress. It makes me happy. I was almost thinking I should take the dog back. You can get a full refund up to 1 week. Like a car or something. Okay, so September 12th, Lindsay finds Dr. Jennifer Tufts. She finds her herself. So I would imagine when Lindsay was researching, she looked for somebody that might actually know something about perinatal mental health disorders, because Dr. Jennifer Tufts does have that on her website. And she schedules an appointment, and then her Edinburgh postnatal, we've learned about the Edinburgh now. Depression score is listed as 23, and that is severe depression. Okay, PLM, catch up. We're not that behind, because I was trying to figure out the best way to put this stuff on the screen. And I was trying to put my little icon me up, but I don't know what's going on with that. Let's see. Maybe, hold on. Let me try something. Where's that? If I take this off and put me, nope, you still don't see me, right? I don't know what's going on. Okay, well, let's put that back on. There we go. Okay. I'll have to work on some of this stuff this weekend because I don't freaking know. What is this one? See? Oh, okay. See, I have a little thingy movie. Hey. Someday I'll afford a tech person that can do this stuff for me. Right now, it's one-man show. Okay. So finding Dr. Tufts, and the Edinburgh scale is really high, which in my opinion means you got to go get more help than Dr. Tufts. But Dr. Tufts is a psychiatrist, so I guess you'd go, this works at this point. Tuft gives her Zoloft. So she increased the Zoloft from 25 to 50. And then she did not sleep for 48 hours after that. I lost my mouse. So once they increased the Zoloft, they doubled the dose from 25 to 50. I think she said it was titrating, right? They told her to take 25 for so long, and then at some point, a week or so many days later, go to 50. She didn't sleep for 48 hours. She had racing thoughts, had worsening anxiety, and just felt awful. Tufts didn't seem to have much expertise, and I wish the defense would ask how many postpartum psychosis patients she indeed treated in her career. I think she said no. I think she said none. They asked her. I'm pretty sure Dr. Tufts said she had never treated anybody, but she had seen them when she did her year, and then she put that little disclaimer, but it wasn't an everyday year, when she was working in a perinatal mental health clinic. And then she said, I remember her saying, because it's stuck in my mind, do you know about the Edinburgh scale? And she says, I've heard of it. So if she worked in the perinatal mental health clinic for a rotation in psychiatric, residency or whatever for a year, I don't know what kind of year, once a month for a year, once a week for a year, a couple hours a month for a year. Like, it just seems like it wasn't like an actual year, because she did say, well, not every day. That's what I was wondering with her posting that on her website. I wanted to be sure. My gosh, yeah. I know. She said, I've heard of it. To me, if you've heard of it, then you are not experienced in perinatal mental health disorders. I think Gelada was more experienced in that than her. So we got Dr. Tufts. We got a terrible score on the Edinburgh of 23. She gives her the Zoloft. She doubles the Zoloft when she's titrating it. And then all of a sudden, the symptoms are horrible. Did not sleep for 48 hours, heart racing, had racing thoughts, worsening anxiety, and felt awful. This should have been recognized as possible antidepressant activation and a warning sign for bipolar, because they're saying SSRIs are terrible for bipolar. Do not give one alone. I guess there's a caveat that says you can give them as long as you have a mood stabilizer with it, like a Seroquel or something, I suppose. Remember, Kevin also pointed out that the website could have been changed after the event. I think she actually said it was an expert, and that's why Lindsay chose her. Oh, that makes sense. She said she had expertise in it, and then after the lawsuit was filed, they said a particular interest, because they didn't want to completely take it down. That makes sense, and that is good. If he put that out there for food for thought, that's a good point. And she's like, well, I don't make the website. Is that the URL for her website? Is that Tufts' website? because I'll look at it. I'll flip over to it. Let me see. Let's see. Oh, no. Oh, never mind. That didn't do me. That's not right. No, that's so low. Oh, okay. What I'm looking at. Okay, great. Because when I put up there, I'm like, it's the same thing I'm reading. Her website also said Dr. Tuft's expertise in perinatal depression and PPD. Isn't that false advertising? She was not. Exactly. PLM has the ad from the 2022 Wayback Machine. Got it. All right, Ruby. We will be here. So the lawsuit alleges this should have been recognized as possible antidepressant activation and a warning sign for bipolar illness. Dr. Tuft stopped the Zoloft and prescribed Ativan and Benadryl for sleep. Thank you. So now she's got Ativan and Benadryl, which are two. One's a benzo. The Ativan is a benzo. And lorazepam, Ativan, same thing. And Benadryl for sleep. But according to the complaint, Lindsay's insomnia continued and her condition kept deteriorating. Dude, if you gave me a Benadryl and an Ativan, I wouldn't wake up for 15 hours, you know? So that right there was a pretty big red flag if somebody can still be awake on that. So after hearing Dr. Tufts testify, you guys, does this section look different to you? It does to me. The only thing that I got out of Dr. Tufts testifying was my head was spinning, to be honest. That she said that she had a particular interest when he cross-examined her, but she had seemed to falsely advertise herself as an expert. Hold on, I gotta take a sip of water. All right, make sure to take you off mute after you take a sip of water. So I just think that this right here was the initial F as in fail for her. For real, I really do. I think that there's a lot going on here that seems like now, in my opinion, Dr. Tufts she thought she was a phenomenal. She had that first year kind of cockiness. I can do this myself now. I'm out of residency. I did residency for 4 years, yada, yada, yada. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm good at this. I'm an expert in this stuff, and bam, and over her head now lawsuit after being a first year practicing doctor. Yikes. So let me move to the next page here. So South Shore comes into play here. In November, she had an ER visit and another antidepressant. So this would be paragraphs 36 through 40. November 16th, Lindsay takes herself to South Shore ER because of insomnia, anxiety, and palpitations. So she can't sleep. She's feeling anxious. Her heart's racing. So panic attack-y symptoms. And then November 20th, Patrick's mother contacts South Shore Perinatal Behavioral Health Program looking for more help, which you think would be the very, very, very best place to go, to be honest. Oops, sorry. I just didn't feel comfortable with Tufts. Me either. I mean, I hate to age discriminate on looks, but she looks very young, but she's the same age as my oldest kid, which she was born 89, right? But at the same time, she wasn't an experienced psychiatrist. And I think in the beginning, she should have a mentor or somebody to run things by. And she did not bring that up at all. Did she ever run any of this by somebody that was more experienced in perinatal mental health disorders? Lindsay received treatment, but it was all the wrong protocol, in my opinion. Lindsay should have been admitted for an in-depth psych evaluation and observation. Dr. Tufts came across as condescending. Yeah, I agree. I think she came across as if she knew more than she did and was more experienced than she was. It's her own cockiness in a way that probably got her in trouble here. Been like, this is a really complicated case. There's a lot going on here. I don't know. Nothing's working. Ding, 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 light bulb. Let me check with somebody. So November 20th, Patrick's mom contacted South Shore's perinatal behavioral health program looking for more help. And Lindsay told Julie Paul. Now, interesting enough, Julie Paul is not named in the lawsuit of all the list of people. But Julie Paul, in my opinion, was the best one on the stand. She didn't look at notes. She knew everything. She knew symptoms. She knew answers. She was on it. So remember Julie Paul? She used to be an L&D nurse, and then she was a midwife, a certified nurse midwife, and then expertise became perinatal mental health nurse practitioner, right? So Lindsay told nurse practitioner Julie Paul she's very frustrated and scared and experiencing extreme insomnia and racing thoughts. So she gives her Prozac, and they did mention that she had taken Prozac in the past when she was in nursing school with good results. She was very young in nursing school, right? She was like in her early 20s. Here's a good question, Bella. What was in those supplements she was allegedly taking? Didn't Patrick hand over those supplement energy drinks or protein shakes or whatever she was taking? If so, Patrick took meds to law enforcement too. I don't think anybody turned those over, because that was like PLM's theory on that was like, wait a minute, remember Shanann Watts was in an MLM with that Thrive stuff, and then this whole Beachbody stuff is an MLM. So they have these supplements that they sell. And we can look up the ingredients as far as that goes. I think there was some kind of nasty stuff in there. A lot of caffeine for sure. Let me see if I can find it. Beachbody supplements. Ingredients list. Okay. So what I'm finding in here, it says beta alanine, ALANINE, 800 milligrams amino acid to delay muscle fatigue, caffeine, 100 milligrams, natural source from green tea / coffee bean to increase focus. Quercetin, QUERCETIN, 500 milligrams plant flavonoid for endurance support. Other ingredients: organic cane sugar, citric acid, beet juice powder, stevia leaf extract. That is the pre-workout supplement. Yeah, racing heart, insomnia right there, right? Then there's a post-workout protein blend, 20 grams total from whey, casein, pea protein, or 100% pea protein implant-based versions. So that's the protein blend. Then the BCAAs, leucine, LEUCINE, isoleucine, and valine in a 2:1:1 ratio. I don't know what that is. Pomegranate extract, 650 milligrams, delivers L-glutinous to reduce muscle soreness. Yeah, I definitely want to check in about those Beachbody drinks she was taking. I'm resizing the Dr. Tufts, and it's being uncooperative finally. Hey, Gen X lady. And okay, yeah, I'm getting that. That's next. The Shakeology meal replacement superfood shake. Proteins: whey, pea, chia, flax, and quinona. I never know to say that right. Quinoa. Superfoods and adaptogens. Chlorella, Chlorella, camu, yacon root, and ashwagandha. Varies by flavor. It's ASHWAG. I don't even know what this stuff is. ASHWAGANDHA. Definitely, Patrick should have taken everything she was ingesting for sure. See, people think, oh, it's not a prescription or it's just natural stuff, but that doesn't matter. Natural stuff can be very dangerous as well. Then we got vitamins and minerals, full spectrum, including vitamin A, B6, B12, C, D, E, calcium, magnesium, and iron. And then there's digestive support, probiotics, fiber, and digestive enzyme blends. Now, it does say there's other specific products like Hydrate, Power Greens, or Bella Vile. Let me know. Okay. Those in detail. So we don't know exactly which one she was taking. I'd like to know which ones she exactly had. They're not regulated by the USDA. They mess with hormones and can overload your liver. And historically, they are found anabolic steroids in these products. Wow. Hi, kitty cat. Yeah. Mixing with all that. I told you guys what happened to my mom when she bought that stupid stuff and she went cuckoo when she was just like in the early stages of her dementia, which we really even weren't sure she had dementia yet. And and the doctor was like, no, stop taking them. She's like, Hannity takes those, and so does Dr. Phil. I don't know who she said, probably Dr. Phil, because she was in love with Dr. Phil. Now we have a Dr. Phil to replace her. But yeah, scary stuff. So, okay, it says, here's how so these other ones. Yes, Hydrate, Power Greens, Bella Vital are completely integrated into the official BODI, BODI, Beachbody catalogs and specialized nutrition tracks. They are classified as boosts or program-specific targeted support rather than standard multi-purpose shakes like Shakeology. So the BODI Performance Hydrate is a workout supplement, and it's designed to be drank during the workouts to optimize fluid absorption and prevent cramping better than water alone. So this one has sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, mixed with a small amount of beet sugar, and dextrose to maximize hydration speed without causing stomach distress. Well, come on, there you're gonna have some heart racing. How much potassium is in there? You know, I mean, you better be sweating pretty good to be given all those extra supplements like that. Hydration speed without causing stomach distress. It also includes, what is that? QUERCETIN for extra endurance. You can buy it on Amazon. Then there's the Power Greens. One of them had appetite suppressant in it, and she was complaining about not having an appetite. That'll do it. If you have an appetite supplement for sure, or suppressant as one of your supplements, yeah, you might not have an appetite. So then the Power Greens Nutrition Boost is sold as Shakeology Boost. It's explicitly designed to be added as a single scoop directly into your daily Shakeology shake to significantly amplify your vitamin and vegetable intake. So it has a proprietary greens blend made of spinach, Corellia, cucumber, kale, celery, and matcha green tea. Green tea has a lot. That has a lot of caffeine, doesn't it? Matcha. One small scoop provides the nutrient equivalent of roughly 1 full cup of green vegetables. Then there's a hormone health plan. Belly Vital, VITALE, BELLE, like belly, like our Bella here. with the E on the end. Hormone health plan. Unlike general supplements, Bella Vital is anchored into a specific 12-week lifestyle, fitness, and stress management program created by trainer Autumn Calabrese. It specifically targets symptoms related to women's hormone imbalances. $10 says she took this. What do you think? It features 2 distinct capsule supplement formulations: daily hormone and stress support. Features adaptations like ashwagandha, ASHWAGANDHA. And let me share this page with you guys so you can see what I'm reading. It's just from the search. Right here. Belly Vital Hormone Health Plan. Dr. Phil said that Lindsay should not be on trial and it's a failure in the judicial system mess. I believe that is true as well. I don't think she should be on trial either. If she's up at 3 a.m. doing hours of exercise and taking these drinks every 4 hours, that could be the equivalent of 2 cups of coffee every 4 hours. That is a lot. That is a lot. Dr. Tufts testified that Lindsay's weight dropped drastically. Shouldn't that have been a red flag for sure? She was doing this instead of eating or in addition to eating. You know what's interesting? That night that she ordered, what she ordered was the Mediterranean Power Bowl without protein. So it was all like a vegetable power bowl that she ordered from 3V. So this one, again, Belly Vital, unlike general supplements, it's anchored to a specific 12-week lifestyle fitness. So if she started, when did she start? If she started this in like September, October, November, that would be like around 3 months of being on it if she started it when she started going cuckoo. Like, wasn't it, what did we just say? It was like September was when she started reaching out for help, right? Baby was born in May. In September, she went to, no, stop. Do not bark at my cat. That's why she doesn't like you. Sorry. Cat went past the dog. He's like he thinks he owns this place now when he does not. Quiet. Be quiet. Okay, sorry. Distraction. I'm going to take you back to a pound if you don't behave. You're going to go back. I got a return. 7-day return policy. Okay. 12 weeks. So she started taking that around that same time when she started getting help. Kind of makes sense that this might be adding to it, right? She was crazy obsessed with getting her body back, obviously. Would she be honest about what she was taking, or did she have some sort of compulsion to get back an amazing body at Jack Patrick, or just because of, I think they lived in a kind of a upper air, where everybody's Instagram beautiful and everything's perfect and nobody has any problems. To be honest, I feel like that could be part of it, just to get back to, look how great you look after you've had 3 kids, that whole thing. Right? So it could have been for Patrick. It could have been just for social media purposes. And these doctors and NPs never did labs either, right? Something is missing as a puzzle piece there. No labs were presented in court by these doctors. Kevin needs to bring this up, all of this up. No labs, yeah. She started this 1 week after Callan's birth. So she started taking this May, June, and is talking about unaliving herself in August. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. The image couple, the East Coast, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I know a lot of people like that out here. Oh my God, do I know a lot of people out in California that are just like, we've got the perfect life and the perfect this and the perfect that. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, what happened? You've been involved in a domestic violence for your entire 12 years of your marriage, and you kept talking about your husband at work like he was the most fabulous thing ever all the time while I'm going through my divorce, thinking, God, I don't know. That'd be nice to have that great man. Literally, I know somebody that's a true story. Like everything was fabulous and wonderful. The whole, like, all these years and great, best proposal ever when they married, beautiful kids, bringing her lunch at work, everything. And I'm like, wow, there are guys out there. And then next thing you know, total domestic violence. He's arrested. They're divorcing. So you never know. Social media is a big commercial for perfection a lot of time. Okay. So this is created by some trainer, Autumn Calabrese. It specifically targets symptoms related to women's hormone imbalance. It features 2 distinct capsule supplement formulations. Okay, daily hormone and stress support. So that's features adaptations like the ashwagandha and rhodiola rosea, rhodiola, rosea, alongside vitamin B12. Again, energy, B12. Even like the compound GLP-1s have B12 in them to stabilize cortisol levels, combat stress, and boost foundational energy. The B12 is for energy. Daily metabolism, blood sugar support, utilizes Sinitrol, Chromax, and Ridicus, which is mulberry extract, to enhance fat burning and suppress sharp blood sugar spikes after meals. Oh, see, Google AI thinks I want to incorporate these into my routine. No, thank you. I'm good. I just need to go to the gym and lift weights. Break down when to take each one during the day. Provide tips. So, interesting. No, thank you. I'm okay. So yeah, there's a lot of craziness going on there, probably. And yeah, and what we always tell people is, when that placenta separates from the inside of your uterus, it's like a big wound in there. That's why it bleeds. So if you had a wound like that on your leg, you would be like laying on the couch, having people help you do things, hand me this, get me that, like trying to heal, right? If you could actually see that wound, but you can't see it. And people are like, come on, I'm going to go run 1 week later. No, like it's actually dangerous. You have to recover. So yeah. Okay. Let's go back to the, let's go back to this here. I don't know what's going on here. Things are shrinking on my screen. I don't know how I did that. Hold on. Oh, that's not what I wanted either. I guess there we go. All right. Got these Mac shortcuts. I need to know. I need to have like a written list of them. So we're back here. So when she went to Julie Paul, okay, back to November. She went to the South Shore ER November 16th. So that's the hospital that her mother-in-law works at. It's the hospital she wound up going to first. Hey, there is Ivy with her flower. Thank you, my friend. Super sweet of you. Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. And welcome. So she went to South Shore on November 16th, November 20th. Her mother contacts the South Shore Perinatal Behavioral Health Program looking for more help, which I think is amazing that they have that. Lindsay tells nurse Julie Paul she's frustrated and scared. She's experiencing extreme insomnia and racing thoughts, and they prescribe Prozac. 4 days later, Lindsay reports that Prozac made the insomnia worse. Again, an SSRI with probably a bipolar person. 4 days later, she's worse with the insomnia. November 25th, she's prescribed Ambien for sleep, which Ambien, I told you guys, can do some crazy things to people too. I mean, I got up in the middle of the night and laid dresses all over my floor when I took an Ambien. Never took that again. And there's stories of people getting in their car and driving places on Ambien. Like you're asleep, but you're not. I don't know. It's a very weird drug. 4 days later, okay. Ambien on November 24th, Remeron and November 25th, and Klonopin. So another benzo. Remeron is for sleep and anxiety too, and Ambien for sleep. I mean, they're just trying to snow her, and she ain't being snowed. I think that's a big red flag, don't you think? Like all the stuff they've given her. So after taking Remeron, the complaint says Lindsay experienced what is characterized as disassociation, scary stuff, feeling that the world was unreal, distorted, and distant, becoming confused and disconnected from her body. That's wild. That's the start of the psychosis, I would say, right there, don't you? Look at how many medication changes are happening while the patient, Lindsay, look at how many medication changes in just a short period of time. She's telling people she's getting worse, and they're changing and changing and changing the medications. Unbelievable. Scary stuff. Okay, so then we go into Dr. Gelada. She's entering the picture here. Your Ambien experience. I bought Tibetan prayer flags in the middle of the night and had no memory of doing so. And I didn't want them. Oh my God. Tibetan prayer flags in the middle of the night. Like you went to the store and did it, or you bought them on Amazon or something. Hopefully you didn't drive your car. Yeah, see, it's so crazy. Ambien's a weird drug. Weird drug. I think there was a lady we had to kick off our flight one time. The flight was delayed. We were coming, it was a red eye from Hawaii, and we boarded in Hawaii. It was like, I think we're a Kona or so, I don't know. It doesn't matter what island we were coming from, but it was a turn for me. So I'd flown San Francisco to whatever island that was. And this was in like 2015. And then we were turning around, taking a whole plane load of people back on the red eye. And this lady got on the plane, and a lot of people will take Ambien before they get on a plane. If especially a red eye, they'll take a sleeper, right? I think she took an Ambien because everybody said when she was in the lobby, she was fine. She was normal. She got on the plane and she started acting nuts. She went in the bathroom and she was yelling and talking really loud to herself in there. We were still boarding. We had to kick her off the plane. Like she was out of control. That her and her husband had to get off the plane. So scary. And then people were like, we were just in the lobby with her. She was normal. I'm like, she probably took something for sleep. Because with like Ambien, if you don't go to sleep after you take it, like you got to go to sleep. Like when you take it, put it in your mouth, be in bed, because you'll start hallucinating and stuff if you don't go to bed. That's my experience with people. Okay, so November 29th, she started Rebecca Gelada. Rebecca Gelada. Hi, I'm Rebecca Gelada. Wasn't her voice the one that was like really annoying? Although look at people come in my stream and tell me that my voice is annoying, and then I say that about somebody else. Pile on everything that Patrick right, Gen X, and pile on everything that Patrick expected Lindsay to do with her 3 small children. It was just way too much for her. Yeah, the pressure of trying to be perfect is hard, and the half-life of these drugs too, all mixed up. Like, yep, fuel to a forest fire. Oh my gosh. You went on Amazon and ordered them. Something you didn't even want. Patrick was on the right track asking if they could detox her and start again, that was probably smart. Yep. Let's just start over. I'm not saying Patrick did anything, but that video where he sort of stands off while Lindsay does stuff gave me pause. I wonder how helpful he was expected to be. Yeah. Okay. November 29th, Lindsay began seeing NP Rebecca Gelada. The complaint actually says Gelada correctly considered a bipolar presentation, which she did. She presented that and prescribed Seroquel, but it alleges Lindsay deteriorated further. And isn't that when Patrick said, my wife does not have bipolar disorder? Why didn't the pharmacy flag these RX meds in Florida? The laws here In Florida, the laws here, pharmacists are to report to the state database, and the database of the state immediately investigates multi-meds. Yeah, interesting. Maybe they only do just the triplicates, you know? Then again, it is only one video peek into their life. So who knows, right? True. But it's a little hint. Could be. So Gelada's the one that brought up bipolar, but then it alleges Lindsay deteriorated further. Says she began experiencing suicidal ideation, what she called intrusive thoughts, a voice saying things such as, I want to die. So here's a voice. They're saying she had the voice here. Emotional numbness, confusion, panic attacks, and significant weight loss. So they're saying she was hearing a voice here, and this is back in the end of November. Now, the prosecution wants us to believe she never heard that voice before that night. December 4th, she called the suicide hotline seeking help. According to the complaint, she was told it was not an emergency because she did not have a specific suicide plan. Here comes the plan thing. Big freaking deal with the plan. Do you have a plan? No. Okay, we'll let you go then. Have a nice night. Bye. So really, I mean, how much help could she possibly be seeking before somebody's like, okay, wait, this is some serious shit, you know? So now at this point, Patrick is going to get involved. So this would be paragraph 47 through 51. December 6th, Patrick attends Lindsay's appointment with Gelada. The prosecution wants us to believe way more than they can prove. They absolutely do. They absolutely have alluded to things that they have not proven or... December 6th, Patrick attends Lindsay's appointment with Gelada. This was telehealth, right? So the complaint says Patrick told Gelada Lindsay is 10,000 times worse since she has taken medication. 10,000 times worse is pretty bad. He asked whether they can get Lindsay off medications. This is what you were just talking about, PLM, and start from scratch. He reportedly asked whether some mistakes could have been made with the medication, and Gelada did respond, it's possible, according to this. But the lawsuit says they actually increased her Seroquel towards 400 milligrams a day. They're saying that they mentioned that Seroquel in low doses doesn't work for as an antipsychotic. You need higher doses, like 400 milligrams for it to work as an antipsychotic. We had my mom on 200 milligrams. It worked. It would work for like 4 hours, but she mostly would sleep. And then she'd wake up and she'd be like really groggy and she'd still be hallucinating, seeing those little assholes. So I don't know. Again, she was a senior citizen. On paragraph 50, December 15th, Patrick calls again and says Lindsay has had a devastating week. The complaint alleges Lindsay was experiencing auditory hallucinations all day. December 15th. This is a month and 9 days before, so 6 weeks before the murders. Patrick called again and said Lindsay had a devastating week. The complaint alleges Lindsay was experiencing auditory hallucinations all day. Again, the prosecution says this never happened. Never happened before, never happened again. Who do we believe here? Interesting. Auditory hallucinations all day. And then paragraph 51 says, then Lindsay told Patrick, I have thoughts of harming the kids. PLM, I will not be the same. So significant, in my opinion. I think of this not being intimate with Patrick. Did this start with body not being the same and not feeling attractive everywhere? Yeah. I mean, yeah, I can see. But yeah. Um, so she was having, they're saying in this complaint, she was having auditory hallucinations all day. I have thoughts of harming the kids. The complaint also alleges she had paranoid beliefs that others could hear her thoughts and that her children would be taken away. There it is, that her children would be taken away. I think that that's a legitimate fear of why she didn't come as forthcoming to the providers as all. Feeling like saying like intrusive and this and that without giving the specifics was going to be enough for them to understand what she's saying. But I think she was afraid. I think her anxiety had her at the level of being really paranoid that somebody was going to come take her kids. You know, I have thoughts of harming the kids, and the complaint also alleges she had paranoid beliefs that others could hear her thoughts and that her children would be taken away. Okay, this is when you would never leave her alone after this. This scares me that anybody ever left her alone after those thoughts. That is where I think, even though they had a good day, I would be very scared to ever leave her alone. Her children would be taken away and she wouldn't be allowed to do her job working with babies. Right. Because she loved her L&D job, sounds like. I mean, we all did it once upon a time. Lindsay should be admitted to mental health for 8 to 12 weeks, even if it were court ordered. She was so very, very fragile. I know. And her providers did not help her at all. They really didn't. They just kept trying to put Band-Aid over Band-Aid after Band-Aid after Band-Aid. You know, you got to break a leg. Some point it might need surgery, right? Nothing else is working. Wow. That's crazy. Let's go to page 14. Okay. This would be paragraphs 52 through 56. So Lindsay goes to Massachusetts General Hospital because of escalating suicidal thoughts. So where are we? December 20th. Massachusetts General Hospital because of escalating suicidal thoughts. And also, you guys, if there's people out there that aren't participating in the chat and haven't hit the like button, if you don't mind, please, thank you. I see there's people watching that aren't participating in the chat. And I love you guys. I don't mind lurkers, but like, please. Lindsay goes to Massachusetts General Hospital because of escalating suicidal thoughts. She's offered admission to McLean or to the Women and Infants Postpartum Day Program. Now, if I were her, I'd probably take the day program, to be honest. You have little kids at home. Nobody can take care of them as well as you. You worry about them, right? Let me just put something here. I'm going to put the like thing across the bottom to remind people. Sometimes I forget to hit like on people's things until somebody reminds me. So I'm reminding. Yeah, auditory before that day. That's what I'm saying. Like the prosecutor in their case. So I imagine that Kevin Red is going to bring this up, right? Contradiction. The civil lawsuit says she told Patrick and her mother that she had thoughts of hurting the children. But later on, I think it says her mother was shocked at how bad her mental health was. Was it her mom or it was her mom, right? Or was it Patrick? I think it was her mom, not Patrick's mom. Right. Yeah, I think you're right. But again, you know, I don't know what her mom does, but maybe a little denial going on there as well. Like, can't be that bad. God, it is, you know. So, okay, so they're giving her, you can go to McLean or you can go to the Women and Infants Postpartum Day Program. She chooses Women and Infants in Rhode Island. Have this diagnosed as being an over-medicated situation. I would have taken her to Cleveland Clinic or Mayo Clinic and get her out of Massachusetts. Yeah, I think Massachusetts wasn't doing her any kind of favors at all. But right here, she chooses women and infants in Rhode Island, and her complaint is quoted as, "I feel numb and crazy depressed." Her Edinburgh postpartum depression screening scale is 23. Her GAD-7 is 21. With the GAD-7, is that the PQ? The GAD-7, it's an anxiety test. Okay, let's oh yeah, I've had to take this one. I always get high score on this one. Let me see what it's like, what it says. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, the PHQ-9 is the depression, but the GAD-7 test is the anxiety one. Okay. Yeah, I when I went on my stress leave, they give me this like every 6 weeks, this one. I'm like, "Dang, I didn't think I had anxiety like that." But yes, I do. Let me look out. I'll share my screen so you guys can see this one. Let's just trade. Let's share this one instead. Okay. Okay, this one is feeling nervous, anxious, or on edge several days, more than half the days, nearly every day. I'd personally say too. Oh, let's see what's wrong with Kathy today. Not being able to stop or control worrying. That's me all the time, nearly every day. Worrying too much about different things, nearly every day. Oh my God, see, I do terrible on this one always. Trouble relaxing, more than half the days. Being so restless, it's hard to sit still. Mm, I, I don't know. I can sit still if I'm watching TV or something, but I'll say so. Becoming easy annoyed or irritable. No. Well, okay. Feeling afraid as if something awful might happen. I'm always paranoid about my kids. I mean, I wish I could keep location on them. So let's see. What's my score? Does it add it up? I'm curious now. Feeling nervous, anxious, or on edge. Okay. I got 12. Okay. Okay. Let's see what's wrong with me. So 5 to 9 is mild, and 10 to 14 moderate, possible clinically significant condition, and over 15 is severe. So see, I'm not that sick. I'm just kidding. Reddington is going to be on fire. I have a feeling he's preparing for his turn for witnesses. Okay, so this one is, she got over 20, she got 21. So she's severe. So yeah, she was super anxious. This tool should be used for screening and monitoring symptoms severity and cannot replace a clinical assessment for diagnosis. Don't forget to rule out medical causes of anxiety before diagnosing an anxiety disorder. For example, an EKG, THS or TSH, right? Bella, there you go, for thyroid disease. I do have hypothyroidism. I do take levothyroxine, but it might have, but I think it's pretty well controlled. But yeah, look at that. I mean, there are other possibilities going on here that, and they never did any kind of blood work as far as we know. Okay. Okay. So her EPDS is 23, which is significant for the Edinburgh postnatal depression screening tool, like emergency kind of like you need help now. And the GAD-7 is 21, which is high. So the complaint alleges Dr. Diaz concluded Lindsay had no postpartum depression and rejected bipolar disorder. So this is at women's and infants. So he says she doesn't have bipolar, whoever Dr. Diaz is. That's the one I don't think we heard from Dr. Diaz, did we? Did I miss that? And rejected bipolar and no postpartum depression. Dr. Diaz. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the next page. So women and infants says, so paragraph 56 or 59, its own program is inappropriate. So this is super interesting, you guys, that this is like the program that she probably needed the most. So the complaint alleges women and infants determine Lindsay's symptoms might be more pharmacologically induced than purely depressive. So, so too many meds, which I believe that could be a very big part of it, right? It also alleges that Dr. Diaz documented WHDHP is not a suitable treatment facility for Lindsay. Wow. But according to, they're the ones that told her, you're on too many meds, we can't help you. Or you've tried too many meds, or you're on too many meds, you've got too many meds in your system, you've been on and off too many meds. I don't know how they actually worded it. But according to the lawsuit, she was discharged after only 1 day without an adequate alternative treatment plan. So that's why they're being sued. Sorry, can't help you. Bye. Have a nice day. Like, no, like, how about do this instead? So women and infants allegedly, so paragraph 58, women and infants allegedly attempted to contact nurse practitioner Gelada about Lindsay's care. And it says Gelada did not respond. Now, didn't Gelada say she never got a call? I wonder if it was around the time. Didn't she say she was going on vacation? She did make a point of that, didn't she? About going on vacation. This is where the lack of coordination between providers becomes a major issue in the lawsuit. I do see that. Gelada didn't respond, the lack of coordination of care, continuity of care, coordination, like it's awful. They did such a bad job here. No matter what, they did a bad job with coordinating between providers. Wow. What a horrible, those poor babies, all over just shitty care. First thing doctors need to do should be labs and get an endocrinologist involved too, as Lindsay was declining. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. You know, honestly, you guys, sometimes you have to advocate for yourself and find out what's wrong with you yourself. Like my son, he's been on a long-term med that can cause testosterone to decrease. And he was feeling really bad, really sick, really sick. And he's like, I think it's my testosterone. So he went to his doctor, and his doctor took blood work. And his doctor, they didn't do a thyroid panel. And I'm like, make sure they do a thyroid panel too. But they didn't. They checked it and they're like, no, your testosterone's fine. He's like, it's fine. Anyway, he actually wound up going to a online provider who did a whole panel of blood work and did say that it is a problem. And now he's on testosterone injection. Is he feeling so much better? And he reached out to his doctor again, and his doctor was like, huh. And Nick's like, I want to see an endocrinologist because now I'm paying out of pocket for this. And he's like, they're just not doing it. They're just not helping him. And he has good insurance. He works for a good company with good insurance. And he's like, they don't care, Mom. I'm messaging them on my chart and everything. And the doctor's like, huh, interesting. And I go, you need to make sure they refer you to the endocrinologist because there's no reason you should be paying out of pocket for this hundreds of dollars a month when it's actually in the lab work. He sent the doctor the lab work, and the doctor was like, oh. So hormones are huge, 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 huge. And he basically had to diagnose and treat himself and find somebody that would help him on his own. Sad. Okay. So let's see. Yes, pass the buck. Nurse Gelato was on vacation and said Lindsay had to communicate through the Epic portal, which had an internal bulletin board email to send her text messages. Right. Okay. Which probably the ball got dropped. Nobody I swear to God, they'll say, oh, so all these people were watching your patients while you were gone. Well, they aren't a priority. They probably have their own patients and they don't really watch your patients like you would. It's just like when you go to freaking lunch. Can you watch my patient while I go to lunch, working labor and delivery? Like, yeah. Did you watch her? Because, I see this big decel. Oh, yeah, she had a decel or whatever. But they still, it just doesn't work the way you think it's going to work when somebody else is caring for your caseload. It just doesn't. Gets pushed aside. We got overworked. What page are we on? Am I on 16 here? Okay. So yeah, the lack of coordination of care is horrible. So December 30th through 31st, page 60 through 63. I can't tough it out anymore is basically the premise here. Could there have been another reason why they didn't want Lindsay to be in that program? Over medicated. They thought she was a junkie, for lack of a better term. I don't think so, because there's nothing that she was taking other than the benzos, but it really wasn't long term. And it wasn't really high dosages. So I don't think so. I mean, if she was seeking opioids, I'd say yes, but she wasn't. But there's a lot of psych meds messing with your system, and I could see them being like, you're kind of in too deep here with these meds. But I can see why they're in the lawsuit, because why couldn't they help straighten it out, My vet has done a better job of getting records when we had to take one of our dogs to emergency care. They requested our records, right? Yeah. I know. And probably why they're in the lawsuit, because it is a stupid reason. So after the Seroquel reduction, the complaint says Lindsay's suicidal ideation returned. So the Seroquel was helping with the suicidal ideation, I'm assuming they're saying here. December 29th, she tells Patrick, I can't tough it out anymore. I need to go to McLean. December 31st, she voluntarily admits herself. So she goes to the ER. They get her over to McLean. And her symptoms at that point are suicidal ideation. Hi, Funda Cruz. Welcome, welcome. Hello, hello. Suicidal ideation, detachment, hopelessness, depression, inability to perform activities of daily living, racing thoughts, disorganized thinking, memory problems, anxiety, and insomnia. It's a lot, especially suicidal ideation without a plan. I mean, might as well just make up a plan if you really feel like you need help, because they're not going to help you if you don't have a plan. Oops. I don't have thyroid. I don't have a thyroid. Had thyroid cancer, and once my thyroid was removed, few months, I began feeling off edgy. I was really not feeling well. The levothyroxine not absorbing given synthroid. So the synthroid worked better. Is that's different than, I thought that was the generic of the levothyroxine. Is it a different compilation? Well, sometimes the brand names work better. It's a synthyroid. Is that different than synthroid? Tell me. I actually, to be honest, I caught my hypothyroid myself. I always review my labs, and I was looking at my labs. And I was like, what the hell? She didn't say anything. They're just like, labs are fine. So I was looking at him. I call my doctor and I'm like, did you want to draw my labs again or do you want to prescribe? And then she gets back to me. She's like, oh yeah, I'll prescribe. So then she prescribes the levothyroxine. I'm like, dude, that would have got missed. For how long? I don't know. Till I went to another provider or till I took it, the year later when I did it again and then it was worse. I'm telling you guys, don't trust everything a doctor says. It doesn't work. Okay. The brand name is Synthroid. And my endocrinologist told me I was the 5th patient on generic that the meds were not showing up in blood labs. Interesting. So interesting. Because I thought they were, see, sometimes the generics don't work. That's proof right there. Thank you. Interesting, Bella. So anyways, the moral of the story here is you know your body better than anybody and you have to advocate for yourself and don't just be like, my doctor said my labs are fine. Look at them. See if anything's out of range. Question it, right? If something's not working after they treat you with something, tell them this isn't working. I don't know why. The civil lawsuit really helps us see the timeline. This is all going over Christmas, New Year's, a depressing time for many, true. And back there, you guys, they don't get sunshine and stuff. So you got like the winter stuff going on too. Was it another red flag that she couldn't face New Year's Eve with Pat? He placed me on mandatory Synthroid. Everything came back much improved on my labs. Very interesting. See? That's wild, though. It made a big difference to go from the generic to the brand name. Good to know. So she's got all this stuff going on. Her insight and judgment were reportedly documented as limited. Insight and judgment limited. But the lawsuit says because she was admitted over New Year's weekend, staffing was poor, and she did not see a doctor till January 3rd. Yeah, Pat was on the stand, was like, all she did was play with clay. They didn't see her, da, 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 da. And then McLean is disputing that. And I think the first doctor she saw was that Dr. Goodheart, and they discharged her. They made her make an appointment first, though, because remember, because then that's when she goes back to Dr. Tufts. They made her make an appointment before they discharged her from McLean. You can tell I'm looking at everything that hints that she's avoiding intimacy of Patrick. Yeah. She definitely was, or it wasn't. Nothing was happening between them. Kevin even brought that up. Okay. Where are we? Page 17. All right. So the complaint alleges Lindsay was discharged after only 5 days at McLean. Dr. Goodheart signed the discharge summary. The lawsuit emphasizes that Lindsay's insight and judgment had been documented as limited and that she had recently experienced suicidal ideation. But they sent her back to outpatient care. So paragraph 67. Wow, this is sad, you guys. Paragraph 67 is heartbreaking. It says Lindsay said or thought, I was just in the best hospital in the country, so there was not much hope. And she decided she needed to appear like she was okay. That's awesome. That's horrible. Great. A very ill patient believes the best hospital in this country, couldn't help her. So what do you do next? That's so sad. That's terrible. I mean, I guess you give up hope at that point. I think a lot of people would have given up hope before she did because she really tried. So they want her to make appointment with Dr. Tufts. I remember this from the trial. So she goes back to Dr. Tufts and she continues to deteriorate. January 6th is when she goes back to Dr. Tufts. So she went on New Year's Eve. She literally went back the next day after leaving. And according to the complaint, Dr. Tufts described Lindsay as deteriorating. The complaint says the appointment lasted 17 minutes. Of course, Dr. Tufts has said that's only the therapy part of the session, not the whole session. The session, I remember her bringing that up on the stand. And then January 16th, the complaint says the hallucinations included, you should harm the children, you should kill yourself, you will never be the same. And that they say Tufts prescribes the amitriptyline. And then on January 20th, Lindsay Googled, what is a psychopath? Because she was terrified that the thoughts she was experiencing meant she had become one. And that's what I said. I feel like she was like starting to get really paranoid about what's wrong with me. Maybe I'm a psychopath. Maybe this, maybe that. I'm going to look this up. Very sad. How do you think they are defining limited insight? Yeah, there must be some kind of a screening tool or questionnaire for that, I would imagine, right? She was the first expert CW's witness, if I remember correctly. Yes, she was the first provider that they brought in. No, the McLean lady came first, right? The Goodhart, I think, came before her. She was the woman who had really short hair and evasive. No, Tufts was the long hair, young looking girl. Dr. Goodhart was the first one. Yeah, the one with the short hair, kind of an accent. Right. And she was a psychiatrist. Dr. Tufts and Dr. Goodhart were psychiatrists. I've never heard voices, but I can imagine how frightening that must be. Oh my God, it must be so frightening. I have an ex-boyfriend whose son, I think it was more schizophrenic, drug-induced schizophrenia. So anyway, he started hearing voices. And I remember he got arrested for something. He was a juvenile. So was he in juvenile hall? No, he was at the farm, like the low risk thing for a while. I don't know what he did. But anyway, we went to visit him and we were like, how you doing? And he's like, he started talking about the voices he hears. He's like, oh, I didn't sleep well because I was listening to the voices, he says. And he's like, I like listening to him, he said. Listening to them, he said. Like, really? So then later on, years later, I find out that he was, I don't know where he was living, homeless or something. I don't know where he was. But I guess apparently the voices told him to beat the hell out of some guy with a pipe. And he did. Now, he didn't murder him. He just beat him. And he wound up getting time for that. But in the end, they wound up saying that it was a psychotic episode. So it never went to court. And he was put into a mental health facility. I think he's still there. Because I've talked to his mom, and because it's in California and they're back east in New Jersey. And she had asked me a couple times when she was going to go visit him about where it was and stuff. So it's been a long time. It's been a lot of years. But yeah, super sad. But the voices can be really wild. Seems crazy. I like listening to them. And then to the point later on in life, we were like, the voices tell you to beat the shit out of somebody. Like crazy. Yeah. Lindsay has a medical science project for sure. So Dr. Tufts says she's deteriorating. January 16th, the complaint says the hallucinations include you should harm the children, you should kill yourself, you will never be the same. The lawsuit alleges Tufts prescribed the amitriptyline. And then on January 20th, she reportedly Googles, "What is a psychopath?" She was terrified that thought she was experiencing meant she was becoming one. So sad. And then the final appointment before the deaths, January 23rd. This is the day before the murders. According to the complaint, Lindsay is more anxious. Her mood remains flat, anxious. She has no motivation. She feels numb. She has to force herself out of the house. Sleep is poor. Medication efficacy is poor. Efficacy. God, Kathy. Insight is poor. Psychiatric condition is unchanged. Okay, I want to see how you determine insight is poor. Determine poor insight in a clinical setting. You evaluate a person's awareness of their mental health condition, their ability to recognize abnormal experiences as symptoms, and their understanding of the need for treatment. Clinicians typically break this down by observing specific behaviors in cognitive domains rather than using a single label. Does the person admit they have a mental or physical health problem? Do they understand that unusual thoughts, moods, or perceptual changes come from an illness, or do they blame external factors and other people? Do they recognize that they could benefit from medications, therapy, or medical support? Are they aware of how their behavior impacts their social, occupational, or personal life? So, complete denial of any illness or flat refusal that symptoms exist would be a grade 1 to 2. That's absent. Then the next higher grade would be poor, which is what they're saying about her, and acknowledges a vague problem but completely blames outside forces, job, family, or environment rather than internal health issues. Then the next, so that's a grade 3. So 1 to 2 is absent, grade 3 is poor. Intellectual is grade 4, can academically state they have an illness and where symptoms come from, but fails to apply this understanding to choices or treatment adherence. And then true or good would be a grade of 5, acknowledges the condition and actively works to change behavior or adhere to treatment. So she's diagnosing her with poor. Dr. Tufts not in a good position here. So the psychiatric guide on insight documentation note that the structured evaluation framework, such as a scale to assess unawareness of mental disorder or GTEM or the PANSS, can be referred during standard diagnostic interviews to track these domains. So interesting. So there is a scale, and they're rating her as poor, which is the second to worst. I guess they're probably going to have to settle on this lawsuit. Do you think it was going to go to court? I think they're waiting for this before they settle to see what the outcome of this is. That's what I would say is happening. Reddington has handled Lindsay's defense like a rock star in the courtroom. Yeah, I really love that. He's also caring towards her. I agree. I know Patrick seemed supportive on the stand and in his interviews, and I'm not blaming one of the victims, but do you think she felt he was unsupportive, thus some of her urgency? Yeah, I do. I think that Patrick wasn't supporting her or realizing how severe this was, even though he's frustrated and saying that she's 1,000 times worse. I don't think he was as supportive as he could have been, right? Yeah, I like him too. I would want him as my attorney. And this RX drug combo praying defense will bring in registered pharmacist. Yeah, the clinical pharmacist for sure to break down every medication Lindsay was taking. Does timelines, half-life of the drugs. So what happens to that? In fact, the clinical pharmacists are amazing. So I told you my mom's doctor put her on the Seroquel, right? Well, we finally, I don't even know how it happened. We finally got a clinical pharmacist managing her meds, finally. And they switched her to Zyprexa. Um, it was much better. It worked much better. Too bad it happened so late because she died soon after that. But Zyprexa has a black box warning. It can be dangerous in elderly, all that kind of stuff. But it's an atypical antipsychotic medication used to treat mental health conditions like schizophrenia and bipolar. So, but when we put her on the Zyprexa, it was literally the clinical pharmacist. Her doctor was out of the picture at that point. They were managing her. And it worked so much better. In fact, when I was working labor and delivery, the regular OBs and stuff, if somebody was a gestational diabetic and they had to be on insulin or insulin drip, the clinical pharmacist was who was in charge of that, not the OB doctors, as far as the dosing and adjustments and sliding scale and when to, how much and when to, when what to drip, all that stuff. So yeah, I agree with you. They need a clinical pharmacist on the stand. 100%. RX drug combo, praying the defense will bring in the registered pharmacist to break down every medication Lindsay was taking, dates, timelines, half-life, so the drugs, what happens to the body. Yeah, I hope so. I hope they bring one. I think they should. I think that would be really good. Really important because they know drugs and they know how it works and they understand the half-lives and they understand the effect on the body and they understand the combination of drugs based on the symptoms and the diagnosis. If she's found not guilty for a PPP event, they will for sure settle the lawsuits. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. My husband and I have been married for 42 years, and we both know when one of us is irritated with each other. But poor Lindsay feeling the way she did and having to deal with disappointing Patrick. Yeah, it's sad. She was still huge difference. I agree. Yeah. The pharmacists are the way to go. If you have any kind of complication, it doesn't matter if it's mental or physical, the clinical pharmacist, most places have a clinical pharmacist that, in fact, even my hospice patients, come to think of it, certain medications they were on were our NP did not manage and our doctor did not manage, our medical director. We sent the clinical pharmacist. What were they? Just certain, I'm drawing a blank right now, but even my hospice patients, we had to deal with the clinical pharmacist. I think it was like, if they're on Eliquis for sure, they managed them. But there were others too. Right. They understand what meds clash, what not to put with what. You know, that is what they studied for many, many years. But yeah, she was like, no, take her out. We're taking her off the Seroquel right now. We're putting on the Zyprexa. Here's the dosage. And then she followed up very well, very quickly, you know. Here's a paper on command hallucinations if anyone's interested. Thank you. All right. Back to document here. So her insight was poor, which is the second from the worst, being the next level is absent. The complaint says Tufts increased amitriptyline at this point from 10 to 20. See, this isn't what she needs at this point. That night, Lindsay allegedly didn't sleep at all. So comparing what Dr. Tufts said on the stand to this, what do you think? What do you think? I think, I don't know. I don't think Dr. Tufts did that great on the stand. At first, I thought she did okay, but now reading this, it sounds like more Band-Aid, 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 Band-Aid. And this was the day before. And she's documenting that her insight was poor. But she doesn't understand, I don't know. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. The jury needs to hear from these experts desperately. He has experts on his, remember the prosecution the other day was questioning or trying to say he couldn't bring certain experts in at this point, and he had to defend it. Like, these are just a rebuttal to theirs. Yeah. I think she did do a bad job, and I think she, honest to God, she's going to lose her lawsuit because based on the amount of years of experience, because I was told, and Bella and other nurses that are here, weren't you told that when you're new, I was told when I'm new, if I get brought into court, I can't say, well, the nurse over there does this way. And they would say to you, well, that nurse has 20 years of experience. That nurse has a standard of practice that she uses consistently. You don't have that yet. You know what I mean? Like, so if you're somebody that's an older nurse, more experienced, may say, well, this is what I always do. Oh, shoot. Hold on. I need to answer a text real quick. Sorry. Yeah, always something. Anyway, yeah, she'll win her lawsuit. I think Lindsay and her whole family thought Tufts was on the wrong track, but McLean's was so bad. Lindsay went back to her. Just such a shame. Yeah, because they needed her to make an appointment with somebody, and I think that was her choice. Okay. So Lindsay didn't sleep that night. So now we're on. Okay. We got paragraph 76 through 84. So the complaint, the civil attorneys say the complaint alleges that Lindsay woke severely depressed with suicidal thoughts, but she also fed the children breakfast, took Cora to the pediatrician, played outside with the children, built a snowman, sent pictures to Patrick and her mother. That's what they kept bringing up, right? Yeah, I think it'll be settled quickly if she gets not guilty by reason of insanity. Right, found guilty but insane, right? Exactly. Poor thing. So later, according to the complaint, the auditory hallucinations intensified. The lawsuit alleges that after Patrick left, Lindsay's experience a commanding male voice telling her to kill the children and then herself. And then, let me see here. So page 20, let me go to page 20. Page 20 describes what the lawsuit characterizes as command auditory hallucinations and a dissociative dreamlike state. So this is her account, an allegation. Okay. Poor thing. So, all right. The complaint says Dr. Margaret Spinelli performed a forensic psychiatric evaluation and interviewed Lindsay for several hours, as well as speaking with Patrick and family members. The lawsuit says Spinelli diagnosed bipolar disorder, severe, with psychosis and anxious distress with postpartum onset. She also reportedly concluded that antidepressants can produce manic hypomanic symptoms and mood instability in someone with underlying bipolar disorder. Spinelli allegedly criticized the providers for not communicating with one another, which we've been doing too, and not for asking Lindsay to describe the actual content of what she was calling intrusive thoughts. She did all that she could. She really did. I think she did all that she could. Yeah, the hopelessness must have been overwhelming. Just because she and Patrick were out with the children does not mean that she wasn't suffering inside. Yeah, they use it like, whatever, she was perfectly fine. She was happy. She just didn't want to be a mom anymore. Video as evidence is lame. I agree. Just stupid. So Dr. Spinelli, she did all that she could to obtain the appropriate treatment. That's what they claim. And I agree. I think she did. Right. We don't have video of the hard times. So it also discusses Dr. Paul Zazel's, that's the guy that they're questioning about coming to visit, opinion that Lindsay's course was complicated by polypharmacy and multiple prescribers, allegedly obscuring accurate diagnosis and appropriate intervention. The complaint says he believed the medications may have been exacerbated in underlying psychiatric vulnerability and precipitated manic psychosis with command hallucinations. Yeah, she was trying. I see somebody really trying harder than most would. That's what I see. The complaint alleges the defendants should have, 1, obtained a complete psychiatric reproductive history, including asking questions about mood changes after the previous pregnancies, recognize the antidepressant activation. The lawsuit calls her reactions to Zoloft and Prozac as possible bipolar red flags, investigated unusual medication sensitivity, including appropriate testing, followed start low and go slow. Instead, the complaint alleges medications were added and changed too rapidly. I completely agree with that. Asked what intrusive thoughts actually meant. I agree with this too. I agree that they didn't get specific about her intrusive thoughts. The lawsuit alleges these were really hallucinations and that providers failed to investigate their content and communicated with each other. The complaint alleges fragmented care among multiple providers, obtained collateral information from Patrick and family. Family members reportedly had information providers needed, and recognized the risk, which is big. The complaint alleges the severity of her postpartum mental illness and suicidal thoughts represented a danger that should have been recognized. So this is what she's suing for. She's suing for count 1, medical malpractice, personal injury. The complaint claims negligence and medical malpractice against all defendants. It seeks damages related to permanent paralysis, spinal injuries, neurogenic bowel and bladder dysfunction. Yeah, she's a mess. Impaired mobility, psychological trauma, loss of her children, medical expenses, lost wages, pain and suffering, emotional distress, and permanent disability. And it also alleges gross negligence and reckless indifference. And count 2 and 3. Loss of family relationships. The last doctor to testify, in my opinion, CW is really trying to protect Dr. Heisel from becoming biased. I think that's why the CW said yesterday, if I remember correctly. Yeah, they wanted it. Yep, Zeisel, yep. She pursued things as much as she could. I agree. Dr. Zeisel was the one that Bo lady was going off about. Yes, it is. That and the priest were helping Lindsay after she got so upset with Cora and Dawson's autopsies. Yeah. And they're like, well, we don't know she did this. And not that she can't have people, but, and the judge got a little snippy to her. Come on. Counts 2 and 3, loss of family relationships. The lawsuit seeks damages upon Lindsay's permanent loss of the companionship, society, comfort, and relationship of Cora, Dawson, and Callan. Count 3, loss of spousal consortium. The lawsuit also alleges Lindsay suffered loss of her normal marital relationship with Patrick because of the events of January 24th. Yeah, she got divorced over it. Yeah. You're objecting to a priest being back there? Then she kind of backed off when he did that, right? Normal marital relationship with Patrick because of the events of January 24th. And people are like, she just wants money. I've seen that. I'm like, the woman's going to need full care for the rest of her life. She can't even pee or poop without help. What page are we on here? That's going to cost a lot of money. Let's see. 27. So basically, Astor Mental Health allegedly is responsible for Tufts. South Shore Health allegedly responsible for Gelada. McLean Hospital allegedly responsible for Goodhart. Women and Infants allegedly responsible for Diaz. So that's how it works. We were told, I don't know about the rest of you, but in California, when you work in a hospital, they don't want you to have medical malpractice as a nurse insurance because you work for the hospital and the hospital has attorneys. So if you do something, the hospital would get sued because they have to go for the deep pockets. That's like what I told you what happened with my aunt. It was the listeria bought from Kroger because the bag of lettuce had listeria. But in the bottom line, Kroger didn't pull them off the shelves when they knew that there was a outbreak or whatever, a recall, and didn't notify people who had bought them. And that's one of the reasons why you do use your grocery card when you go, your card, so that they can notify you if something you purchased was recalled. But it turned out in the end, the doctor that treated my aunt in the hospital and sent her home and said she had just a bug, to the point where she deteriorated so badly she wound up in a coma and septic, wasn't the one they could sue. In the end, the person that they sued was Kroger, because Kroger was ultimately the responsible party for the lettuce being infected or contaminated, I guess is the word. So that's why Astor Mental Health is responsible for Tufts, South Shore Health responsible for Gelada, McLean responsible for Goodhart, and Women and Infants responsible for Diaz. So it isn't only going after the individual clinicians. It alleges their employers are legally responsible for negligent acts committed within their employment. So in the end, odds are the people that are going to wind up paying are going to be the deeper pockets, the Astor, South Shore, McLean, Women and Infants, right? That's how I took it. But are they employees or just contracted? Yep. Will Patrick get anything? Patrick has his own lawsuit going, and we'll do that. We could do that next time. Patrick has his own separate lawsuit. Yep. I don't know if the children had life insurance. They may have, because he was working for Microsoft. I would imagine he had some kind of small policy with his employers. I always put my kids on mine when they were younger, just enough to like have a funeral expenses paid, Yeah. Quite young, very costly. Yeah. Rest of her life. Yep. Yep. He does. He has a whole separate lawsuit. I have the info for that. We'll have to go over that too. And on his 3 children. Yep. Yep. Okay. So, So Lindsay's asking for a judgment in her favor, damages, punitive damages were legally allowed, interest, costs, attorney's fees, and a jury trial. I looked up Lindsay's condition, explains how the individual with that injury needs 2 medical assistants by her side 24/7. I can't imagine having 2 people with me all day and night, no privacy. Yikes. Yeah. Yeah, she needs, that's why she has 2 nurses there in court with her. They did not specify a dollar amount. The amount is to be determined later. Wow. So, do you think the medical system failed her, you guys? I do. What do you think? So, and if they did, how do you review her criminal responsibility? I don't think she's criminally responsible. I think I think she was a very, very ill person myself, and the system failed her. And any one of those steps could have helped, stopped. It was like one fail after another after another. So, I mean, she literally repeatedly sought help. Even her family sought help. And multiple clinicians. It's not like she just went to one doctor and that doctor was just a dumbass and couldn't diagnose her properly. She's really reached out to a lot of places for help, a lot of clinicians for help, a lot of, I, her medications were changed too much. I agree with that. And the suicidal ideation was big when they're like, why shouldn't I have a plan? Like when somebody tells you once they have suicidal ideation without a plan, maybe, but when it's consistently coming over and over and over again, yeah. Hallucinations, possible bipolar, already thrown out there, not diagnosed. And, even if Patrick was like, my wife does not have bipolar, Gelada was the clinician. She could have said, I'm sorry, this is a hard to take, but this is what I'm diagnosing her with. This is what she has. We can get another opinion, You can't let the husband push back because he doesn't want her to have a certain problem. Don't look good to be a bipolar, to have bipolar. Well, sorry, right? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So, sure. That's a Baker Act in Florida. I agree. However, the attitude I'm seeing in social media are really worrisome. People who don't believe in psychosis or even depression because they've never seen it or experienced it. Yeah, it's really, really, really sad. Hey, Kresha, how are you? It is such a tragic case. It's opened the door for much needed discussions. Absolutely agree with you. 100%. So much discussion. Yeah. She needed to be, I mean, it just over and over. It's like a snowball effect. You know what, Krisha, it's almost like not Lori Vallow because she was literally psychotic in my opinion. And it's different than being, or, she's a sociopath, whatever. But almost like the people that knew what was happening when Charles was asking for help over and over and over, the system just continued to fail him. And people just poo-pooed it. Oh, Charles having an affair. Okay, no, there's no proof of that. But Lori believing Lori and stuff, it's just such a huge disappointment, right? That over and over and over, you can see somebody reaching for help, trying so hard and not getting the help that they want. Sad, sad, sad. 5150, yeah, it's a 5150 here. 72-hour-old. We all need to advocate to our lawmakers for funding to mental health care desperately. We sure do. I looked for a video to help me understand what it looks like for someone with delusional symptoms or delusional thoughts, and it brought me to an enlightening video. I'll have to find it and share it. Please do. Please do. Yeah, she did it for a man and for her wanting to be the queen of the world too. How are you, Kresha? You doing okay? I'm glad you're following this too, because it's just such a horrible case. Awareness is everything when it comes down to it. Like I told everybody, I have had patients when I worked high risk OB case management, which I'm going back to, by the way, that told me they're hearing voices and they're seeing shadows, and I'm like, this is an emergency. Like, you need help today. And I'm not a psychiatrist, but shoot, we all have a voice for the voiceless. For sure. There needs to be a push, because there's a lot, like you were saying, Callan, there's a whole, when you look at some of these Facebook groups, they're like, oh my God, she's just a mean, nasty murderer. She wasn't psychotic. She planned it. And I'm not seeing any of that. Why do their delusional thoughts, voices always urge paranoid or harmful behavior? I don't know. I know you'd think, I don't know if it's the state of mind or what, but why? I mean, why couldn't there be voices that are like friendly and kind? You know what I mean? Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, the voices make you do this. I mean, Lori, she does apparently talk to Jesus, and he comes to see her and all that kind of stuff. And it's weird. The mind is so freaking fragile. So fragile. Percy. Oh, Gardner's here. Good. Gardner comes right about now. Here he is. I know, right? Why aren't these delusions urging to help upload groceries for an elderly person? Yes, it's only one-sided. Yeah, it's very strange. I can ask my daughter. My daughter's a therapist. She's got her master's in psychology. She's a marriage family therapist. I should ask her that question, because she's the one that told me that 100% she believes right from the beginning that Lindsay Clancy was in a psychosis, and that her mind was, in charge of her body, but she could still use the tools that were available to her, like the internet, the the phone, making plans for dinner, all that kind of stuff. Is still, somebody in psychosis is still perfectly capable of doing these things and using the tools that are available to you. So I will ask her that question today. Why are the voices always, let me see if I can text her right now. See if she'll answer me. She's if she's seeing patients, she doesn't answer me, and psychosis. I'm going to ask her, do the voices they hear always command terrible things, right? The command voices. Terrible things. Let's see if she answers me. When I ask someone what proof they have so far, sorry, the dog's going to bark in the background. I apologize. The gardener's here. When I ask someone what proof they have so far that Lindsay is a murderer, they can't answer. Right. They can't. I'm going to close this door. See if that helps at all. Fridays are the worst with the gardener here and the dog going crazy. These aren't just real crimes. They are stories that should have never been forgotten and that have affected families and communities. I have another one, a postpartum psychosis on Left Undone, that is about a woman. It was in Las Vegas. When it was on the news, or when it first happened, I did make a video on it, and it's titled Postpartum Psychosis. And her boyfriend, her husband, whoever it was, he left, and she had 2 babies, and one was a new baby, and she smothered them while they were gone. I'd have to go back and watch the video, but it's over there. And when he came back, they were stacked on top of each other. And I don't think it ever went to trial. I think it was strictly postpartum psychosis right off the bat, recognized. one of the scenarios in that article about command hallucinations is that the person believes they have to do something to help save someone else. Y'all know how you are the researcher. You are the dig deeper into the mind control aspects of things. But these generational families purposely abuse a child before age 5 in order to split their minds, personalities, did. And then victims claim that the programmer will assign demons to each personality. And I'm like, what? Wow, that's crazy. The stigma of the woman, wife, mother has to be strong and in control of our children and home jobs. Aren't we allowed to be weak? Nope. Nope. Not even. Not allowed. Nope. Let's see. She hasn't answered me, so she's probably seeing patients. 11:30. Live. Ah. Okay. She hasn't answered me yet, but we'll see. She'll probably answer as soon as we end, right? This is like multiple personality disorder, right? Dissociative identity disorder, aka multiple personality disorder. They program each of the parts to perform certain tasks to pass around sexually to other generational members of the victim. It's so wild. And isn't able to recall such memories until much later in life. I've always thought that interesting. I had a patient when I worked nurse advice line, and she would call all the time, and she had dissociative personality disorder or identity disorder. And it was really weird because she would call for advice on this or that. And sometimes she was very different than other times. So it was really interesting to me to talk to her. Your explanation is too deep for these little boxes. Oh, yes. Okay. Okay, she's answering me. Here we go. When I was in grad school, she says, yes, they are always command terrible things. When I was in grad school, we listened to the audio and headphones of what it would sound like if you were schizophrenic and you were in psychosis. And it's really scary and loud. And then we had to have conversations with each other while our headphones were in, saying all these things in our ears. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So they had to be listening to the voices and talk to each other while these command voices were talking to them. Wow. Okay. So yeah, she says, when I was in grad school, we listened to the audio on headphones of what it would sound like if you were schizophrenic and you were in psychosis. And it's really scary and loud. And then we had to have conversations with each other while our headphones were in, saying all these things in our ears. That is crazy. That would be so hard, right? Letitia Stouck's defense, DID, seriously, she is just cruel and evil about what she did again. And I can't believe that she's got pushed back to her thing got a new trial. Horrific. Yeah, super interesting. Super interesting. But they're always bad. Why are they always telling them to do bad things like murder? See, I wish she would come on and we could pick her brain, but she's like, oh, I just like being a resource. I'm going to say Crush's daughter went on. It makes me question if Lindsay was possibly also triggered by something she watched or listened to at the same times. It makes sense. Yeah. I'm just asking her again, but why do they always say they tell them to do bad things like murder? But they do, I guess. It's wild. It's terrible. You'd think that we would have been invented to have our bodies be in a euphoria after having children so that we could take good care of them instead of having this like thing that could go completely haywire. So Lindsay repeatedly sought help. Her family repeatedly sought help. Multiple clinicians and institutions were involved. Her medications were repeatedly changed. There were alleged warning signs of activation of severe insomnia, suicidality, hallucinations, and bipolar. I see bubbles. She's right type. And possible bipolar illness. Oh, she's giving me examples. Oh, okay. Oh, she's giving us examples. To act in a certain way or do harm. Exactly, which makes me question whether these delusions are possibly purposely created via child abuse and programmed to trigger to do certain way. Interesting. Let's see. They can be full commanding sentences or brief noises, she says. Okay, here, let's play this. The audio you're about to hear might be upsetting for some people. Please take care when listening. Okay, hold on. Let's share it. Let me find it on here. Let me get it on my computer so we can share it because it's a YouTube. Ooh. Hold on. Get my messages from my computer. Where are you? All right, let me get it because I can share it. Probably we can look at it. She said, try listening to this while grocery shopping. Hold on. Oh, no, that's sorry. That's not it. That's something else. Okay, here it is. Okay, let me get it up here. And I'll share. I wish my gardener would go away. He's making me crazy right now. I'm hearing gardening. Okay, let me share my screen here. And then let's share this tab instead. Hold on. Let's put it on the screen. I don't know. I hate all this other stuff that this vidIQ and everything has to be on my screen at all times for some reason. I don't even look at this stuff anymore. Okay. This video is made together with people who experience schizophrenia in order to illustrate what hearing voices can feel like and improve understanding. Do you hear anything? I don't hear anything. The audio about to hear might be unsettling for some people. Please take care when listening. 1 in 100 of us have schizophrenia. Some people with schizophrenia experience hearing voices.
Stupid. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. It's so clever. Don't joke.
How are you feeling today?
Oh my God, it's already giving me chills.
Good. Now, you think you're so clever, don't you? Yeah. Have you been breathing? Well, you're not. You know that, right? Breathing. You're stupid.
You're stupid. Oh my God, you guys. I have my earbuds in and they're like both ears.
Stupid. You're just plain thick. Oh, you go around taking me, know it all. Bother even trying. You're just plain thick. You're worthless. Why bother even trying? You're bound to fail. Just admit, you're a loser. No good. Worthless. You go around pretending you can do this, that you're clever than you are, but we know the truth, don't we? We know you really are. What you're really capable of. Absolutely not.
Can you smell that?
Oh my God, I can pull my hair out.
I smell something burning with like Plastic or tar or something, right?
Hopeless.
What's that?
I've got nothing for you. Do you know me? You don't even know me.
Yes. That bloke looks like Ray Charles. He's staring at you. They know. The bloke at the counter. He knows. They know what you're thinking. And they know.
Do I know him?
They know what you're thinking.
Stop
You
looking
look good.
at me.
You look well.
Stop
what?
looking at me.
I'm really proud of you the way you're coping. No, it's terrific. It's terrific. Do you know what? You should be proud of what you've achieved.
Have you been doing those exercises?
Oh my God. Holy cow, that was horrible. Holy cow, can you imagine? No wonder you get suicidal ideation from hearing that. Yeah. Thank you, Carolina. Wow. So she says again, the short answer is that whatever is common in our world becomes the thing that people have in psychosis. So things about God, things about death, about murder, things about political figures, they're typically the things that come to mind because those are the things that we hear in our everyday world. And they are things beyond us bigger. And they are things beyond us, bigger than us, that we tend to wonder or have conspiracies about. Often different countries have people experiencing psychosis differently. All right, let me write it back. That audio was wild. If I heard that, I mean, I can't stand the little ringing I hear in my ears, right? And that freaked me out. That was freaky. I don't know if I ever want to hear that again. I'm just answering my daughter one more time. Okay. Yeah. Wild, 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 wild. It was, Ivy. Right? I know. It was alarming. I feel like I was possessed. I know, right, you guys? Whew. That was some scary stuff. Okay. Well, that was that. Gosh. So interesting. Just amazing how fragile the mind can be to like actually hear command voices like that. It seems unreal that it could happen. Yeah, totally. Felt like my brain was possessed during that. And with the earbuds, they were like in both ears, like different times and saying different things. You're stupid. Ooh, ooh, I got chills. I've got chills. Scary stuff. I can put that link if you guys want it. Save it. Let me put it in the chat. I don't know if you want to show anybody, if you ever have a discussion about it again or whatever, but there it is that she sent me. Interesting that different countries have people experience psychosis differently. So it's really, she said, yeah, it's scary. And when someone lives with that 24/7 and you also can't figure out what's reality or not, you succumb to it. It can feel very real. It can feel very similar to when we have our dreams about death or murder and we wake up and go, but I would never do that. She probably felt the same coming out of psychosis. It was like a bad dream. Yeah, it's like all your negative talk, self-talk magnified to a crazy degree. Wow. Oh, negative. I'm going to say that to her. Fied. That's wild, you guys. I don't know. Poor Lindsay. I'm very much looking forward to how the rest of the trial goes. I think the prosecution has beaten a dead horse to death. here. So I don't know what the heck is going to happen next, or how many more police officers that saw some blood, but not a lot of blood. There was no blood on the bed. There was no blood on the wall. Just blood there where we showed you. Just lots of blood where we showed you, but it's not a lot of blood. It's only a little blood, right? Not enough to die. Fake suicide. Like, so over them with that whole thing, bringing more blood to show that it wasn't as serious as it was. She's paralyzed. She coded. She would have died. If Patrick would have came probably another 15 or 20 minutes later, she would not have lived through that jump out the window. I mean, and we wouldn't even be here. She wouldn't even be here. And she probably wishes she wasn't, which is really, really, really sad. But God, who can live without your children after you murdered them? It's just horrible. You would call, heard voices like that. Or if somebody tells you they're hearing voices like that, I suggest we call, right? Yeah. It's insane. Oh. Well, that was interesting. I think we learned a lot. I'm glad we looked at that after we saw, could put faces to the names of the people that are being sued by Lindsay in this lawsuit, because now we know exactly what they said on the stand, how they CYA'd themselves. Yep, hypothermia, shock. She was hypothermic, hypotensive, probably hypovolemic, even though the prosecution doesn't even understand what that means. But also with the neurogenic shock she was in, was thermoregulation was so off. I mean, she was a mess. They keep saying she crawled down the house. How would that paralyze her? She did not crawl down the house. She jumped head first. Those injuries show somebody that the prosecution's lying to you. It's their theory that I can't say they're lying. They just have a stupid theory that she crawled down the house because there was blood on the shingles, meaning she turned around and slid feet first down. She could have just head first down, and her arms could have touched it doesn't necessarily mean she's going to jump out and down. Maybe she just dove straight down and skimmed against the, you know what I mean? Her wrists wound up going against or they were still dripping some blood at that point on the shingles. But even their DNA or even their blood tests on the shingles didn't come up positive, right? Go get admitted. No shame. I don't believe that Reddington is involved in the civil suit, but I can't be sure. Paralyzed from a high-speed fall that injured her body and spinal cord. Yeah, her injuries, she would have had a broken leg, right? Trauma, yeah. Head first, determined not to put her hands out to break the fall, right? Yeah, literally, she could have had her arms tucked to her side and went down, right? It's wild, though, how you can control that reflex. I would have a hard time being able to just say, okay, let me put my arms to my sides or up, not up, like so that they don't break my fall. She wanted to die. She absolutely wanted to die. And I think the different types that she tried, like maybe some pills first, or maybe the slitting her wrist and stuff, she realized it wasn't working. So she's like, move the bed, get out the window, one more try. Who knows what was going through her mind? She was in a state of psychosis. I want to hear the defense experts. I'm over the CW aimless stuff since we already know that she did it. Yep. Yeah. Was it C3, C1, Jefferson spinal cord injury? Yes. If I remember correctly, I think that's the medical term. Yeah, that's what they call it. It's the same one that Christopher Reeves had, except for she's somehow luckily enough to have use of her arms still, but she's paralyzed from the sternum down. So, all right, you guys, I got to go make some phone calls. I have to my appointment to talk to my real estate agent because I think I'm going to take my house off the market right now. It hasn't sold. It's not getting views. I'm not going to just sit here and have my house for sale when I'm starting a new job. I may just take it off till spring. We'll see. So I got to talk to him. That's what I've got to do right now. And then I'll be back Monday for sure. Cervical spine trauma. Thank you. Yeah. They're beating a dead horse. So anyway, that was interesting. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. And I will have my cup. You guys can hear me now, right? My plug fell out of my mic somehow. And I don't know how, but it did because I have too many technical difficulties. I will see you soon. I'll see you Monday for sure. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. You can hear me now, right? I just want to know you can hear me, that I didn't just drop off the face of the earth when my plug fell out of my mic. Yeah, Journey has been packing, moving, doing all kinds of stuff and multitasking us in her ear. All right. You guys can hear me, right? Okay. Thank you. I just want to make sure because the plug fell off the mic and I was talking, and then all of a sudden it said, your mic unplugged. I had muted when I unmuted. I couldn't hear you. Now I see we were both having Girl, I'm telling you, I like multitasking, but sometimes it gets the best of me here, right? Hitting this, talking about, telling the dog to stop. All right, you guys, appreciate you all. Please stay safe and stay well, and I will see you soon, okay? Bye, everybody. See you Monday.